kids, get ready to surf the World Wide Web. Grab your boards. Remember the 90s? This is the Brainworms podcast. I think, isn't it? Where am I? Who are you? What the fuck? I'm Joe.
I'm David.
Chris?
And I'm Kaine. I have a name.
I don't think these people. And we're going to keep reading Castlevania Worlds of Power because I sent a message that's saying, hey, do you want to do another episode of Castlevania? The response I got was not David saying, I guess so, we might as well. So here we all are.
Yeah, literally the only response sent. So, So let that be a lesson to you, kids. Democracy works.
That's true. If literally anyone had said, no, I don't want to do that, that sounds stupid and you're an asshole for suggesting it, I would have said, okay, and maybe found something better. So yeah, Worlds of Power, a 90s mediocre at best, in our experience, series of books intending to cash in on the youth video game playing market. Which a 14-year-old child as understood by a 40-year-old adult man.
Well, we say child, but he's more half child. He's more chocolate than man.
True. Has been transported to the world of Castlevania. It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Apparently, in case you missed, to catch you all up.
Why are you listening to part 3 and need what? Just go back. It's fine.
Yeah. But in case you forgot, or just can't be bothered, Tim Bradley is a chocolate-eating little whore who has no redeeming qualities except that he does a lot of puns, apparently.
Which even that I wouldn't call a redeeming quality.
Yeah,
Neither,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, there's
not
nothing
really.
redeeming about that.
If you invited a guy over to my house whose one personality trait was just makes dad joke puns, I would say, hey, don't.
That's sort of like, referencing not David and then saying, like, well, at least he doesn't set the place on fire. That's a redeeming quality.
Except for that one time.
Well, I mean, you've removed any type of fuel.
It's good. It's for your own protection, really.
I don't want to exist.
Yeah, none of us do. But here we are.
Yeah, well, welcome to that. That's the most person-like thing I think you've said yet.
You are learning.
So I hear you asking yourself as you do your monthly budget, I have between $3 and $50 that I just have no use for every month. I keep withdrawing it from the bank and putting it in the fireplace, but that seems silly. What am I to do with all of this extra money? Let me tell you what you can do with it. You can give it to us.
We will use it for good things, promise.
We'll use it to feed, not David. Aren't moongulls, potentially. But if you're not in a position to do that, we get it. Money exists, and there's not always a lot of it. But you do want to help us out. If you're listening to this podcast on Google Cast, or Apple Podcast, or Carved Obsidian Orb, go ahead and give us a good review. That's good. It makes us look good and feel good.
And of course, share things on your social medias.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Talk about us on the Facebook.
True. Maybe you gotta. Okay.
Oh no, just tweet things.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's a thing people do still.
Do your best to make a memetic out of us because memes are, extremely good advertising.
Talk about it on the TikToks or whatever the kids are doing. I don't know.
These are all garbage words that mean stuff, and it's somewhat upsetting.
Welcome to 2020.
But yeah, if you have a friend that's like, man, it's really quiet in my house. I really need to hear the self-indulgent cackling of a bunch of weirdos. just recommend us. Like, hey, I got something that'll fill that niche, that'll fill that brainworm-shaped hole in your heart.
And really, what are brainworms for, if not for sharing?
Always look on the bright side of life.
Hey, we can't do that. That's a takedown notice right there waiting to happen.
Yep. None of that. None of that.
Sorry,
Right.
BMI or whoever owns that. We didn't mean it.
Are we going to read a book or what?
Obviously, we're
I
just going to
guess.
copyright infringe over and over again.
Well, I mean, that's sort of the entire premise of our podcast.
This is legally transformative, used for purposes of review. Don't sue us, please, Scholastic, if you haven't gone bankrupt. Is Scholastic
don't
still
sue.
publishing books?
Huh. I'm going to go with I have no idea.
All right, let me hook my cables. Yes.
Where are they now? How about that?
Apparently, they made $1.6 billion in 2016.
Well, how about... Okay, so you know what? No sympathy. I'm good.
Yeah,
But don't-
wash your fins, Baby Shark. That's a book that's going right now.
And less sympathy.
Sniff Like a Shark. That's in there.
So they're just focusing on shark-themed media these days.
Oh no. There's also all sorts of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a graphic novel, I Survived, which just has the picture of a shark trying to eat children.
And they employed
Peppa
nearly
Pig.
9,000 people.
Low wages.
You wanna dig into this?
No, I don't. Let's move on. Talk about Tim Bradley, his chocolate addiction.
How he's Castlevania's last hope because Simon Belmont is
Really, really stupid.
yeah,
And
he's
a
very dumb.
humorless tool.
Well, he was Aces at the original Castlevania, so obviously being transported into the world of Castlevania 2, he's going to have a leg up.
I like to imagine Simon Belmont in this book dressed like the 70s, like open shirt, big gold medallion.
Well, I hadn't previously, but now I won't be able to not.
Nice.
I just as soon as you started saying that, I just immediately thought of Adam from Prince Adam from Eternia,
Oh yeah.
but in somewhat gothy clothes, but still very much so Prince Adam.
I
So
can see it, yeah.
thanks for that.
Okay, now I'm never going to be able to imagine anything other than Simon Belmont singing For Non-Blondes.
What's going on?
Hey.
Hey, look, we can't keep doing
God
this,
damn
guys.
They're gonna get us.
Well, I suppose we put this off long enough.
Not valid for monetization.
Chapter 10. A Rib Tickler. Tim Bradley had seen some big fancy houses in his life, but never before had he seen anything like Berkeley Mansion. Wow, looks pretty intense, he told Simon Belmont. An interesting word for a house of evil, said Simon grimly. Simon looked ill, as though he were struggling with something inside him that he didn't want to talk about. Berkeley Mansion was a bad place before Dracula ever came to Castlevania. It is a house where a great baron once killed his entire family, his servants, and guests, and was there beheaded for his crimes by the law. They say that it is haunted by at least 1,000 ghosts.
How many people were in that
That's so many
fucking family?
ghosts.
At least 1,000.
Baron
Man,
Berkeley was a dark dude, man.
Yeah,
No?
that's a lot of killing to squeeze into an evening.
I mean, that's a lot of sex. I mean, to have that many family, that's
Well, I
his
mean,
entire.
I'm assuming that also includes the servants and guests.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so he like had a party, and at that party was like, you know what? I'm tired of these people being alive, and then just murdered the shit out of everyone.
Who was he? Agent 47? Like, to kill that many people without someone noticing and then they all scatter? Like, he had to, like, have a plan.
I don't
Well, I'm
get that
just
reference. Is that like the video game Hitman? Is that
Yeah.
what that is? Okay, sorry.
I'm just impressed by the fact that he apparently killed his entire family, his servants, and guests, which, if we're to believe what we just read, means 1,000 people in ostensibly one night, but then was taken down by the
The
law.
law, right?
Was
Maybe he
was
did
the law
like the
Simon?
poison in the wine cup move.
Yeah, he just poisoned everyone. And then, because, I mean,
yeah, that's
if you're killing people like 1,000 at a time, I'm thinking that they're going to have a real hard time taking you down individually. So, yeah, probably poison.
Well, this might prove my lack of understanding of gaseous physics or whatever it's called. But maybe all he had to do was like lock the doors, and just with 1,000 people in one building, that's a lot of carbon dioxide. Maybe they just used up all the air and suffocated.
I figure someone would open a window.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't even have to. Like, you don't have to open a window unless the building itself was like hermetically sealed. Like,
With that many bodies, though, like,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, air is going to get in through just small gaps and whatnot. That's why if you...
The mortar. He would get through the mortar.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's why if you're planning to, say, run a tube out of the exhaust of your car and suffocate yourself on carbon dioxide from your car exhaust, you want to make sure to use plenty of duct tape.
This is heartwarming family content.
Yeah, what? No, let's just go back to the fact, who was the law?
Who was the law?
The law.
Who? Like,
no, just the law. Literally an entity, like the law, just showed up and beheaded him.
I don't remember that boss in Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. I'm just saying.
Because the law was such a well-established thing, before it was an entity outside of just what the hierarchy said was right and wrong.
Yeah. We're going to assume that by the law, they mean not just a mob of people who said, holy shit, that guy is evil. Let's grab him and kill him.
Which honestly would be a better way to answer that. Like, instead of he was beheaded for his crimes by the law, why not the local populace, after having their friends and family murdered by fucking Baron Berkeley, went to his house and torched him?
Also,
well, because you can't allow people to solve their own problems.
Yeah, you have to rely on authority figures. Yeah.
Also,
I hate everything.
For an enraged mob, killing him is one of the better outcomes of what could happen to you if you have a mob enraged at you. That's one of the best outcomes aside from escaping.
Yep, basically. This house certainly looked like a haunted house, from the Gothic architecture to the creepy mist that overhung it like a grave shroud. Even from the outside, he could smell rotting timbers and the mustiness of hundreds of years of misuse. This was one creepy place. Prepare, Timothy Bradley, for experiences that shall stretch and perhaps distort your mind.
Except that he's played the games.
They're gonna do drugs.
You want to do some fucking PCP?
A smile touched Simon Belmont's lips. As we enter the doors of this great house, I am reminded of the beginning of one of your jokes, Timothy Bradley. Knock, knock. Tim looked at Simon, and then back at Berkeley Mansion. You want me to say, who's there? Well, I'm not going to. He took in a long breath. Because I don't really want to know. That was awful.
Well, that's all the buildup of the entire book of him liking jokes for this payoff.
Because this situation is so bad that even candy gobbler Tim Bradley just doesn't appreciate a joke.
Also, I'm gonna roll a d20 on disbelieving that Simon wants to hear one of Tim's jokes. I think this is Dracula acting through him.
Now, I'm really genuinely curious what Simon Belmont's knock-knock joke in that circumstance would have been. But we'll never know. Let that haunt you.
We won't know.
That haunt you.
Consider me haunted.
Ba-da-ba-ba.
Tim Bradley had always wondered what a video game would look like if it became real.
It would just be real. It's like, I wonder what the Mona Lisa would look like if it was real.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be Mona Lisa, you twit.
Well, I mean, I don't want to blow your mind or anything, but paintings are real.
You know what I mean.
Admittedly, this is the Nintendo era where they had like 12 pixels to make everything.
Right.
But
So
still,
maybe-
it's a mimicry of reality.
But yeah.
He'd always wondered about how the strange zigs and zags of a game would translate into 3 dimensions, along with taste and smell. However, he truly had never wanted to know what Castlevania would look like. It was too scary to contemplate.
Tim, it's the only game you play.
Also, like, he wondered what it would taste and sound like, and now I'm just picturing Timothy licking his screen. Like, what did the pixels taste like?
Chocolate!
What do these make me bigger mushrooms taste like? I must know.
Well, they're not delicious. However, now he knew. And the truth was not pleasant. This whole dimension seemed somehow tilted like an old horror movie. This was certainly the case with the interior of Berkeley Mansion. The floors and the ceilings and the walls just weren't square, just did not meet at right angles. The place not only smelled of old shoes and dead socks, it smelled of forgotten things in the back of the refrigerator. It smelled of a terrible past unearthed, something better off buried.
What do a live sock smell like?
Don't ever fucking ask that question.
Now that's going to haunt me. The door was no problem. There was
living
no door.
socks. What's a dark time, and I can't go back there.
Would they, like, talk? Would they talk back at you? Like, don't put me on your feet. Your feet suck.
It would kill.
Feel like, oh, what the hell's the name of that sock puppet? Chester and Ollie?
Syphil and Ollie.
Syphil and Ollie, yeah.
That's a reference. Holy shit.
I thought you were going to say lamb chop.
Oh, no. But that's a live sock, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
There you go. So whatever Syphil and Ollie smell like, that's what... Wow, this went weird.
I haven't
Yeah.
thought about fucking
Yeah.
Syphil and Ollie probably since it was on television.
I don't even know what you're talking about, so...
Well, it's hard to get context clues from your small cage box on the moon. So you can Google it later. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
I'm not going to do that.
That's probably true of everyone who hears me say that. They walked into the main hallway through the sagging open doorway. Draperies and tapestries hung in ruins all about a great hall to the right. Clutter and antiques lay strewn in the wreckage. Which way? Simon wondered, stroking his chin. I would think down, wouldn't you? Suggested Tim. Why would you say that? I don't know. Dracula always likes to be close to the earth. Reminds me of the joke. Why does a vampire take cold medicine? Simon made a face. To stop coughing. I do not understand the joke, but your reasoning is correct. What else do you see here in this room that you think gives us information or might be of use?
I don't know what's worse, how stupid that joke is, or the fact that Simon is too stupid to get it.
Well,
No, I think Simon got it. It just wasn't funny.
that's very, very true. But also, in some defense of something, I don't know, they probably don't have cough medicine in Castlevania.
Probably give you like liquid mercury or something.
Just laudanum. Take your laudanum and shut up.
Laudanum and honey.
Yeah. Oh, you have a
I
cold?
imagine you've all
Take
seen
some
it
opium.
about like old timey pharmacists. It's, oh, you're full of ghosts. Take some cocaine for it.
You're full of ghosts. Here, take some cocaine. Call me in the morning.
That's not going to help you.
You're full of ghosts. Take this cocaine and call me in the morning on the phone that doesn't exist yet.
We'll just give it a few decades and the Bayer Corporation will save us all. That was a joke about heroin.
I don't listen to hip hop.
Well, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Actually, not true. I've listened to a lot of it lately.
All right, where the hell am I?
Ask
The moon?
myself that all the time.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're still stuck on that joke. I think that's where we
Yeah, we're
got
still,
off track.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I do not understand the joke, but your reasoning is correct. What else do you see here in this room that you think gives us information or might be of use? Tim surveyed the cluttered chamber. Good thought. The thing about Nintendo games is that there's always something around somewhere that you need to use somewhere else.
Like a wall chicken.
That's not universally true.
Wall
Tim.
chicken. I hope it's a wall chicken.
This is not a game of any kind, said Simon sternly. This is deadly serious. Yes, I know.
Chicken
I
with
still-
a pulley on it.
But I still think we should look for something that doesn't seem to belong here. Something that looks like it might be useful later. Tim began to walk among the odds and ends. Now, look at this, for instance. He picked up a broken cuckoo clock. A bird on a broken spring hung out of it like a weird alien tongue. I don't see a thing that this would be good for. He tossed the thing back into a heap of junk.
Hey, it's at least right twice a day.
True. But this, I don't know. It may be a possibility. He bent
Come on,
down and pointed
LucasArts point and click adventure.
it.
Like Maniac Mansion.
Exactly like Maniac.
God,
Monkey Island.
I'd play that. I'd play that Castlevania game.
Oh, that would be awesome.
yeah, like a Myst-style Castlevania.
Yeah.
No, I mean the campy silliness of Maniac
That's-
Mansion, but
yeah.
as a Castlevania.
Yeah, Maniac Mansion, Night of the Tentacles. Monkey
Certainly,
Island.
Yeah, the Monkey Island games.
That's the second biggest monkey head I've ever seen. He bent down and pointed at something on the ground. What is it? Asked Simon. It was an arrow. But not just any arrow. It looked like an Indian arrow, with colorful feathers on one end and a stone arrowhead on the other. Oh, that's culturally sensitive.
Yeah.
Look at where it's pointed, said Tim. At the fireplace. So? I guess you wouldn't know, but these kind of mansions always have hidden passages, and they usually
fuck
have
you
them behind the
wouldn't know?
fireplaces with marble mantelpieces. Simon looked puzzled. Why is that? Because of these, Tim walked toward the fireplace. On top of the mantelpiece was a row of candlesticks. For hidden passages, you need handle openers. He pulled on one of the candles. It was just a candlestick, and it came off. Ha! So much for your theories.
So wait, are we not going to address how a North American native arrow crossed an ocean to get to this continent?
I kind of
we
like
mean
I made
ocean.
Not to
reference
mention
to like. Does anyone want to
dimensions.
unpack that? Yeah, but we no one seemed to take the ball. So. Yeah, I don't know. Like it might just be because Tim's an idiot and he doesn't realize that just all arrows look like that.
Well, no, it's because the grown man that's writing the book
Mhm.
is from the 1950s, and so that was
Oh,
that was all cool, like cops and robbers,
Right.
cowboys and
Marbles.
Indians, that kind of stuff.
I mean, and let's just be honest. That sort of thing was still very rampant in the 90s. It's still pretty rampant now.
Washington football team.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
I understand that this guy is from a different time period. That doesn't excuse the fact that this setting is Northern Europe.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's not though. It's not.
I mean, it's a dimension of a video game that is.
A mimicry of planet Earth.
No. There's never been a place called Castlevania. They're currently in a place that is called Castlevania.
But yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do with the
I
arrow.
don't either. It
I
hurts.
think it's
It hurts to think about it too much.
Like, why wouldn't it be a
Initially-
crossbow bolt?
right. And initially, I kind of had a thought about like Scholastic is just contemptuous of its audience. They're like, yeah, fucking ship it out. It's for kids. Who cares? But how much fucking amyl nitrate was this publishing house on? That they read this book and ran it through their editorial process and we're like, yeah, this is fine. All of this is fine. 9 to 14s are going to eat this up. This is a good book.
Well, probably the intention here and the reason that it was specifically designed to look like a quote Indian arrow with colorful feathers on one end and a stone arrowhead on the other was so that it would be something that was completely out of place, so that it could be noticed, because this is a dimension that is a video game. And so even though the weirdness of Simon Belmont being a real person wandering around who knows that he's in a video game dimension doesn't quite realize that things are going to exist here on like stupid logic
Sure.
of this thing is here and out of place to help you solve the mystery.
It's confusing and upsetting to me that we're operating from a place where Simon Belmont doesn't know that castles have secret passages in them. What?
Yeah.
There were 10 brass candlesticks on the mantelpiece, any one of which might be the secret handle that opened a hidden door. Tim tried another candlestick. No go. Another. Nope. He started to get worried. Gee, I don't know. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe sticking out from the fireplace was an old grate. Looking over to Simon, he did not see it. He tripped over it, falling flat on his face. Oof, he said. His dignity was hurt far worse than his body. Tim, are you all right? Simon rushed over to check, suddenly all seriousness again. Yeah, stupid of me, but I'm kind of a klutz at home anyway. Wait, what's that sound? The sound was a metallic scraping, like cement skidding along a steel floor. Which is a weird thing, like, why wouldn't it be... You know what, I don't even care. Tim looked around at the same time that Simon did. One of the dusty, cobwebby panels inside the fireplace was slowly sliding away, opening a section of musty, mysterious darkness. Simon looked down at his fallen friend. It would appear that I have an apology to make, Timothy Bradley. Wow, there is a secret corridor. Fear tickled his backbone. On the other hand, How do we know for sure that this isn't a trap?
It's a perception check.
Or just move your cursor around the room, clicking on pixels until something happens.
Right. Simon shook his head. A trap would be more alluring, more obvious. No, you've done
No.
well.
It would have chocolate in it.
Yeah. Just a giant Hershey Big Block.
Or it would just be a giant axe blade that comes up out of the floor that collapses under you for no reason after you have to, like, struggle to pry open the locked door into the goddamn janitor's closet.
I think it would be like a stack of two skulls, one facing one way and one facing another.
Oh, yeah.
And they would just shoot fire randomly.
Eh,
So that you could time it out just right to, jump over the one and hit it with. Continue.
A scything blade that flies back and forth, and you have to run across at just the right time.
Yeah.
Let us progress. We, after all, have the torches we got at the inn to light our way. Yeah, let's just try not to burn down anything. This looks like a real fire trap here. Simon started for the passageway, his touch
Everything was
held out
damp.
before him.
I thought everything was stone.
Thought none of this made any sense. A sudden gust of wind blew out from the passageway, blowing out both torches. The room was plunged into darkness. Well, so much for that, said Tim. Wait a minute, though. That arrow. Maybe there's something magical about that arrow. I mean, it did show us the way to the passage. What do you mean? Just a hunch. I mean, this sounds just like something from a video game. You need to find objects, you need to use objects, and sometimes those objects work together. So
I can't begin to tell you how interesting this is.
This is
His
for
arrow
people that
with
have never
fireplace.
played a video game before, that are somehow reading this book without any kind of concept of, like, video games and how they work.
It's to
but
fill up
it's-
space.
Yeah,
That's
but
literally
it's-
what it is.
But it's neither. It's neither playing a video game, which is fun, nor is it good writing, which is fun. So
Yeah.
it's just this horrible in between zone.
Yeah, it's pretty
Again,
much.
I would argue that if Tim wasn't involved and this was just Simon Belmont going on a cool castle, the writing would probably be no better. But at least the story would be interesting.
I don't know. That's how you get solid Justin.
Oh, good point. What about Solid Justin and Dre?
Don't forget about Dre.
I didn't.
Good for you. Sometimes those objects work together, so it follows that the arrow may affect whatever magic we've already gotten. The crystal we got at the church. It's worth a try, right? Tim heard the sound of uncertain footsteps as Simon searched his way
bullshit is
back
this?
to the arrow. With a grunt, he knocked into something. Tim could hear the sounds of his hands feeling about the floor. Found it, he said.
Was he just punching the ground trying to find it? Is
I
that
hope so.
like boom, 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 found it?
His knuckles are just split open.
Yeah, but I found it.
He can't punch that hard. Let's be real.
Why, he has a whip. But he can whip open parts of the wall so that he can find turkeys inside of them. Okay, take the crystal and touch the arrowhead to it. Very well. It was like turning on an electric light bulb. The crystal ignited with a white light that lit the whole section of the room. Simon gasped with surprise and wonder, blinking with the brightness. I think
almost
that'll
as
do
if
the
it's like
trick.
the first time he's done this.
I mean, it's probably... how many times have you touched an arrowhead to a crystal and had it turn on light?
The same amount of times that I've gone on vampire hunts.
Well, we all have to start somewhere. I think that'll do the trick, said Tim, brushing himself off as he got up. Still, since you've got the light, maybe you should go first. Yes, said Simon. Bring the torches, though. We could find a light later, and who knows how fickle this magical light will be. The passageway proved as dusty and murky as Tim had expected, but otherwise it was bare of danger. They followed it to a set of stairs which they descended. 3 flights down, they came to a dead end. Simon, using the light, scoured the walls for some sort of opening. Found nothing. Well, this is a fine fix, said Tim, shaking his head. I don't know, though. It doesn't really make sense, though, does it? I mean, why would there be a stairway down to a dead end? You are the puzzle solver, Timothy. You can call me Tim. Tim. Somehow it doesn't sound right. He stepped very close to the wall to inspect it closely, holding the arrow and the crystal up for better illumination. And a very strange thing happened. The crystal dulled in its brilliance. The closer the magic got to the wall, the lower dipped the light. Simon stared at this phenomenon for a moment, drawing the crystal back and forth in the air to determine if in fact it was the wall that was dimming the crystal. Something evil is blocking this passageway, he said, which means that it may be something that is protecting the rib of Dracula.
It's implied. You asshole.
It looks that way, but how are we going to unblock it? We're not magicians. Should I start telling the wall jokes? Hey, wall, what's the stuff between an elephant's toes? No. This time I know what to do. Simon dug into his pack and drew out the large flask filled with the holy water they had received from the monk. If indeed this is evil, it's not going to like this. He tossed a splash of the water upon the wall. The effect was immediate. It was as if Simon had tossed a stick of dynamite. With a profound kablam, the whole wall caved in with a cloud of dust. Tim took in a lungful and began coughing himself hoarse. However, he was gratified to see that the crystal was fairly bursting now with brilliance.
I'm glad that Tim is so intelligent that when a cloud of dust erupts, he just goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cause him problems down the road. Might not directly negatively affect him right now, aside from some coughing and some slight irritation, but when you get concrete or whatever dust in your lungs, that's a bad place to be.
Not to mention that this was explicitly an evil wall.
Yeah. Evil concrete.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
He just breathed in evil concrete. I'm sorry, Tim. It's over for you, buddy. No amount of chocolate's going to fix that.
No. It might make the passing easier since you love chocolate so much, but this is over. You will not have children, which honestly,
probably for the best.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
You cough. We're right, Simon. Which reminds me of the joke about Simon held up a hand. Shh. Look into the next room, Tim. He held forth the white crystal, which cast forth its light deep into the adjacent chamber. Tim looked, and astonishment overtook him. Goodness! Well, don't just stand there, came a cackling voice like something out of a rest home for witches. Enter, if you dare!
Is the laugh in that?
No. Shh.
Quit making this book more interesting by adding things.
Game hint.
Yay!
Yeah, game hint.
This is my favorite part.
To get to the last 2 mansions, bring the red crystal to Deborah Cliff and ride the tornado.
Nice.
That's Ride the tornado.
Sounds like drug lingo.
Sounds like Pecos Bill.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like Pecos Bill.
Chapter 11. Miss Ezadorada.
What?
Chapter 11. Miss Ezadorada.
What?
Miss Ezadorada?
Miss Ezadorada.
What's
Okay.
Eldorado?
No, I think it's supposed to be a Romani person.
Ezadorada. Oh, wait.
Ever fucking sing the Eagles in my presence?
Yeah. In fact, I vote that we take his legs off too.
You just want them for yourself.
It's true.
I mean, it'd be a match.
He's not gonna graft them on. He's just gonna stick like sticks down the bones and then like using his hands try to imitate.
You don't know what I was going to do. You have no idea what I was going to do. You have no idea what I have set up in this room.
The next chamber was not the stark cellar room that Tim Bradley had expected. Far from it. Instead, it looked as though they had just knocked down the wall of Ye Olde Curiosity Shoppa.
Wait, what?
What?
At the very least, it seemed to be some sort of room filled with antique chairs, lamps, mirrors, knickknacks, doodads, and whatnots, to say nothing of what's-its.
Is that antiques relative to this time period or relative to Timothy's modern day time period?
Why are we glossing over Ye Olde Curiosity Shoppa? Like what? Why do we move past? What is that oldie shoppa?
Is that just a fancy way of saying like a shop of curiosities?
No, like ye olde times. So I get it.
Yeah, it's spelled in Old English for no reason.
Like the way they spell everything at the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, because 9 to 14 kids are totally gonna get Old English.
I mean, that's about the time you start reading Chaucer and stuff, so it's fine. Whatever.
I wouldn't know. I was homeschooled.
That makes sense.
I think that's what I said too.
Questions are answered.
In the very middle of the room, sitting in a creaky old rocker, was a creaky old lady with a very large black
Creaky
cat.
black cat.
Unfortunately, not creaky, just very large black
It
cat.
just saddens me. It should be creaky.
Shouldn't it be
Creaky
like
granola bar.
an
Every-
equally creaky old lady?
It should be every adjective about her should be creaky.
I just want every adjective in this book from now on to be creaky.
Oh god, we've said creaky so many times that it's lost its meaning. I forget what that's called.
Semantic satiation.
Thank you.
That is one of my favorite phenomena. In the very middle of the room, sitting in a creaky old rocker, was a creaky old lady with a very large black
Stop
cat
saying creaky.
square in the middle of her ample lap, purring as it was petted. Come in, you two. I'm not going to bite, I promise, she said with a reassuring, matronly smile.
Why do you have an
lap rider means that old lady was...
Didn't she say enter if you dare?
And also,
that's
why?
just like a
Why?
threat.
Yeah, why is she employing the use of an evil wall?
I can't thank you enough for knocking down that stupid, silly wall.
There you go.
Just thinking about trying to start chipping away at it with one of these sweet little antique sledgehammers over there, and
What do you
that
say?
wouldn't have been very ladylike, now would it?
That's
What?
very convenient. Okay, so hang on.
Wait.
So wait, hang on. So she's saying it. She's in world, so this stuff is antique relative to these people. An antique sledgehammer? Like a sledgehammer comes from modern day.
Yeah.
So
this is like a Dark Ages era sledgehammer.
no. Further back than that,
Wasn't that
because
just a
it's
surf?
antique. No, because it's antique in relative to the old lady.
Oh, right.
Also, I mean, Not for nothing, but sledgehammer technology hasn't really changed.
Well,
I mean, it's just a big heavy weight on a stick. So yeah,
but I don't like. Also, why is it there? Who put it there and why?
I think she's going to tell us.
Don't.
She's
Yes.
going to. She's going to tell us.
I hope so. Please deliver, OP.
OP never delivers.
Even though she was old and wrinkled, she was somehow very pretty. Well,
the
ages
fuck?
much?
What the fuck?
What the hell? The writer of this book, FX9.
With a wealth of blonde curls above her head and a set of healthy white teeth behind a brilliant smile.
I really thought he was gonna go to boobs with like the healthy comment. I was just like, oh god, no, I don't want to go here.
Why would you think he was going to boobs?
I don't know.
It's not
Chris
that kind of a
always
book
goes
for
to
14-year-olds.
Also, considering the age of this writer, he may want to consider ditching the whole "I'm not attracted to wrinkles" thing because we're getting there, pal.
Her eyes were bright blue. She fairly glowed with kindness, only dimmed by the paleness of being inside for so long.
What was she eating?
What was she breathing?
We've
What was she
discussed that
doing?
already.
Aside from his mother,
No, she's walled in like Cask of Amontillado style.
No, she's not.
We don't know. We only know that she's in a room that looks like ye old curiosity shop, with a cat on her lap sitting in a chair.
With a bunch of hammers.
She's just been eating cat poop the whole time.
Aside from his mother, there hasn't been a female character in this book.
Well, don't
Tim hasn't
forget
true.
Simon's like phantasm.
No, there have been other female characters, but not ones that Tim hasn't eye banged.
Oh,
It's true.
Well, he is a
Aside from his
teenage
mother.
boy.
That's
Yeah.
true.
the writer does not have that much insight.
Tim liked her immediately. He had the feeling that not only was she of no harm to them, she might even be of help. Simon evidently had the same impression. Tim could sense him relaxing his guard. "However do you find yourself down here, madam?" he asked politely. If Simon had been wearing a hat, Tim suspected that the valiant hero would have taken it off. The old woman's eyes...
Is he an incel?
No, it's voluntary. The old woman's eyes fairly glittered with good humor. "Well, now there's an interesting story for you. But first things first. My name is Isidorata Perkins."
That's stupid.
Isidorata Perkins.
It's just
Okay.
stupid.
"And pray tell, who are these old eyes gazing upon?" Tim and Simon introduced themselves. "Simon Belmont. Well, hush my puppies.
It's a cat.
You wouldn't remember this, but I dandled you on my knee when you were just knee-high to a bat."
What?
Isidorata put her hand up to her mouth. "Oh dear, how unfortunate a term, especially in these circumstances."
Especially since no one ever used that term.
Is this still the book, or have I just disassociated into some kind of hallucination?
I don't know, but I smell toast.
It's working. It's finally working. I will be the real one.
"Go ahead with your story," urged Tim. "Oh, please
Down
don't.
with your bad self.
Please don't." "Oh dear, of course. How I do go on sometimes." She giggled almost girlishly. "You must understand that I am the caretaker of Berkeley Mansion." "Caretaker?" said Tim, unable to hide his surprise. Immediately, he was embarrassed about his blurting out, but by the look of amusement in Isidorata Perkins' eyes, he could see that she didn't take it as an insult.
I just want Granny Weatherwax to suddenly bust through the cellar wall and beat this lady to death with a shillelagh.
Oh my god, yes,
I just want to read another
please.
book. Also, yes.
Yeah, God, I love Granny Weatherwax. Not what you think, Tim. You see, I take care that Berkeley Mansion looks ramshackle. I distribute the cobwebs, the dust, and the clutter just so. A work of art, I say, and it took years to get it this way.
That's stupid.
I actually kind of think this is a humorous, thought. Maybe this idea deserves a better book to be in.
I agree with that, actually.
I'm just picturing this old lady meticulously setting up the cobwebs and.
And now that rascal Dracula has me locked down here, unable to appreciate my own handiwork.
Well, not anymore.
Genocidal rapscallion.
You can go wander around.
However, thanks to you all, I am now free again. I can go up and drift through my lovely rooms and enjoy the delightful dilapidation. That's all very well and good, Isidorata Perkins, said Simon.
I hate that name so much.
However, we must tell you that we are on a very important quest. Oh, yes, of course. You must be after the Rib of Dracula. Well, it's downstairs, and you're welcome to it as far as I'm concerned.
I really wanted her to say, "You're after the Rib of Dracula. It's right here in my pocket."
I've been chewing on it.
My cat's eating it.
Have to fight her for it.
Yeah, suddenly the boss music starts.
I just think that she used to have like 12 cats.
Yeah, how long has she been stuck in that room?
Yeah. That's why this cat is so large, is that they've both been feasting on the other cats. Kind of where Joe's going to be if society explodes.
Yeah. I hope Nigel makes it.
You mean my cat?
Yes. What a pretty cat he is.
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course, you must be after the Rib of Dracula. Well, it's downstairs, and you're welcome to it as far as I'm concerned. It's caused me absolutely nothing but a headache. The way it pounds on its drum sometimes. Pounds on a drum? Said Tim. Yes, well, it hasn't got much else it can do, being just a rib and all.
It's forming a band.
And I must say, it must feel a bit isolated without the rest of Dracula to keep it company. So it's got this silly drum, and sometimes it pounds on it.
Well, why did you give it the drum?
What the hell? When we're listening to David read these books, is there a moment where it stops sounding like words and just becomes noises? You have to really refocus your brain, or is that just something that I experience?
My primary method of intaking literature has always been audiobooks. I'm just more of an audio-oriented person, so no.
It's not. It's just the things that we read on this podcast. I have that problem with.
They don't necessarily maintain any kind of actual meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes noise. The signal-to-noise ratio is all off.
It's like somebody just took a bunch of words and pasted them to a wall, and then took a Tommy gun and just sprayed that wall, and then went through, and with no particular order, just things that sort of made sentences. They just grabbed those words and threw them into a Worlds of Power book.
Like those poetry magnets that everybody had in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Or like burrows.
Yeah.
I must say, it must feel a bit isolated without the rest of Dracula to keep it company. So it's got this silly drum, and sometimes it pounds on it. What do you think? You think maybe it reminds it of the beat of its owner's heart? I wouldn't think that Dracula had a heart, said Tim. Oh, yes. And
that is shit about anatomy.
I was actually just about to ask, since Dracula is undead, wouldn't his heart be still?
I mean...
Depends on your vampire lord.
Okay.
Yeah. Did they establish in this that Dracula came from our world to the world of Castlevania?
Nope.
Okay. Because like they've talked about how Dracula showed up there, hasn't always been there, and I'm wondering if like the implication was that he, after the events of the book Dracula, disappeared into Castlevania. But I guess that's outside the scope of this particular drama.
No, like according to this book, Castlevania 1 happened except when it didn't. And that's all the lore we have.
Right. I wouldn't think that Dracula had a heart, said Tim. Oh, yes. And that is one of the things we must find, said Simon. A heart, yes. But definitely a very black heart. Yes, well, yes, well, I dare say, said Ezidorata. None of my business. But anything I can do against Count Dracula will do my heart good. How can you help us, then? Asked Simon. Let me see. Ezidorata stroked her double chin.
The fuck was that necessary for?
The fat shaming as well as ageism.
Yeah.
Well, for starters, I can tell you how to get down safely to where the rib is located. And I suppose I might give you what you need to take the rib safely.
You suppose?
Tricky business at best, that, and mind you, Count Dracula's minions may be stupid, but the Count himself isn't. He's set up some safeguards for his rib. We are prepared. Sorry, cat, but you're going to have to get off, said Ezidorata, gently lifting the fat cat from her lap and placing it down on the floor.
Yes,
Now
they've
then.
been eating the other cats.
Let's see what we've got here. She turned.
Posing the antiques with piss.
She turned
Yeah,
her
I don't see
attention.
a litter box
It's an antique litter box.
full of antique litter.
An antique piss.
Antique piss. They're all antique piss.
She turned her attention to a pile of junk in the middle of the room, pulling this out, pushing that aside. Sewing scissors, no. Thread, won't help. Curling iron, maybe with Dracula's hair, but not his rib.
9mm semi-automatic handgun. This should do the trick.
Uzi 9mm.
AK-47. Absolutely positively must kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitute. She pulled out an old boot, a hat, a bicycle pump. You find some strange things in haunted
Is
houses.
she from another timeline? What the fuck?
Look, let's just move through this.
Why does she have curling irons and bicycle pumps that are antiques?
You find some strange things in haunted houses, she explained. Even ghosts sometimes. Ah, what do you know? Here's something I think you'll be able to use. A stake.
Like
Tim-
a porterhouse or
like it. Thanks. It's a stick.
I can just go out to the spooky woods and get like 10 of those, lady. It's fine.
Yeah. There's a chair here. Allow me to break a leg off. I now have a steak.
Tim blinked. What? To eat after we cook it on the barbecue with the rib? No. You clearly think in puns, young man. An unhealthy habit.
Yes. Tell him.
She held up a length of wood. A steak! Oh, thought Tim. That kind of steak. It was long and had one blunt end and one pointed end. This is the
That's
kind
what
of
a steak
you'll
is.
need to deal with Dracula, said the old woman. She thrust it into Simon's hands. Go down the staircase past that door. Take a left at the
Thrust it into
bottom.
his torso.
Watch out for the troll.
Call you names on the internet.
Like 4chan?
My name is Sergeant Detritus. You're welcome. That was specifically for David.
You'll see the dungeon to your left. There are skeletons hanging from chains. That's how you'll know you're in the right dungeon. Get past whatever monsters lurk down there, climb the steps, touch the rib with the stake, and hey, it's all yours.
How do you know any of this?
Bring it up here, dearies, so I can have a look at it, all right? She started going through the junk on the floor again, humming a tune to herself, suddenly totally oblivious to the presence of the two heroes in her room.
I mean, that's a tall order for that kind of two heroes in the room.
Yeah. Not yet. He's working on it. He's getting there. You'll give us more directions when we get back? Hmm? She turned around, smiling happily upon them. Well, of course I will, loves. And also, there might be another goodie or two that I unearthed from this pile with your names on it. Toddle off now, then. Have a good time. Mind the monsters. Oh, and if you see the spirit of Dracula pop up, give the old blackguard my worst, will you? With that, Esiderata Perkins turned her attention back to her work. You know, it's weird and out of place and just not great, and it is a terrible character name, but this has been my favorite part of this so far.
Yeah.
I'm with Chris on this. I appreciate the weird, like, just oddity of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Off then, said Simon Belmont, pointing with the stake toward the door. To the dungeon. To the dungeon with a bludgeon, said Tim Bradley. And off they went. Why'd you have to ruin it, Tim? To ruin it.
It's like the book had to remind us.
Yep.
Like, remember, this is real stupid.
Oh, you are experiencing a small amount of joy? Let's put a stop to that right quick.
If the previous part of Berkeley Mansion had been dirty, then the dungeons below could be called absolutely, undeniably, and irrefutably totally filthy. In short, a real mess. Maybe we should fire up the torches again, huh? Said Tim, chilled to the bone with the cold gloom into which they were descending. No, we shall make do with the white crystal. Look, see how nicely it glows, so close to the stake. This oaken stake must have magical properties as well. Good magical properties. Well, all I can say is that I wish the good Lady Litter had given us a magical heater.
Like
You were
like a
beginning-
heater shield?
No, I don't think so. Although that would probably also be useful. You were beginning to complain too much, Timothy Bradley.
Yeah,
Did you
smack
think-
him.
Did you think that a quest of this nature would be comfortable?
Yes, he's a child.
And he didn't ask to come.
Did they, like, last Starfighter him?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay.
Wait, just, keep going. I want to see if Simon hits him.
Tim thought about that. True. When he sat down for a game of Castlevania, it was usually in his temperature-controlled room at home, be it air-conditioned or heated. All I
In case you
can
didn't know
say,
what temperature controlled meant.
all I can say is this experience certainly makes me appreciate heroes more. He rubbed his rumbling stomach. Especially hero sandwiches. Boy, could I use one right now, with some
Hero
ham and
sandwich.
cheese, salami and lettuce, tomato.
Bogey.
Gee, don't forget the hot peppers. Hold the mayo. You're a very strange young man, said Simon.
He's not going to hit him.
Tim laughed. He thought about digging into his pack for another hunk of chocolate,
Oh my god.
but he'd eaten so many already that he had to admit that even in this frightening and suspenseful moment, he couldn't possibly indulge himself in another. It was on the lower level, just where the lady caretaker had told them to expect it, that Tim and Simon encountered the troll.
So wait,
was-
Tim turned down chocolate. Someone check his retinas, get his blood pressure, heart rate, check his
Secretly
vitals.
Dracula.
He's growing as a person, you guys. It's
He
his.
just ate so much that he's gonna vomit if he eats more. He's not like making a moral choice.
He's just eaten so much that he doesn't feel good as it is.
He's not diving on a grenade.
Don't you see the route to becoming a truly well-rounded and responsible adult human person and a hero in your own right is to stop having a sense of humor and give up the things that you enjoy.
I mean, that's not completely wrong.
It's not. It's depressing as fuck, but it's not wrong. It was on the lower level, just where the lady caretaker had told them to expect it, that Tim and Simon encountered the troll. It was not quite what they had expected. Chapter 12. Stakeout. That it was a monster, there can be no doubt. That it was the most peculiar monster that Tim Bradley had ever seen in all the movies, comics, or television he'd experienced, there could be no doubt either. Good grief, Tim gasped, getting his sword ready. Prepare for battle, my fine assistant, shouted Simon Belmont, brandishing his whip. I think we shall have an excellent little tussle against this one. The monster was tall. It walked like a man, but that was where the resemblance ended. Its face was lizard hide. Its head looked as though someone had jammed a basketball through its fanged mouth. It looked,
What?
thought Tim, like the creature from the Black Lagoon after a long spell on the wrong side of the lead shield in a nuclear reactor.
Yeah,
What?
because all the kids are gonna know what the creature from the Black Lagoon is.
I mean, it's not. That was still pretty well known in the 90s, maybe because of Monster Squad and things like that. But
And skateboards.
and skateboards, yeah, that's true. Arr! It growled. Back, O villainous creature of the night, said Simon Belmont, bringing his arm back for a snap of the whip. Hey, hold on there, said the thing. I said arg because I just stubbed my toe trying to get away from you guys. You want to give me a break? I do not trust you, said Simon, and he flung the whip over his shoulder, preparing to strike. However, Tim stepped in and stayed Simon's hand, causing the whip to strike the wall instead of the monster. Why did you do that? Screamed Simon Belmont, his face growing red. I don't remember if anger is one of those 7 deadly sins, said Tim, but you sure are getting out of control. I don't care how ugly the thing is. It's asked for a chance to explain what it's up to. Wrath, Tim. Wrath is definitely one of those 7 deadly sins. There's only 7 of them, dude. Come on. These are important.
Yeah, it's hard to remember things when all you've eaten for sustenance is a bag of Halloween candy. All right? Give him a break.
But it is a creature of Dracula, said Simon, growing more furious. Hey, simmer down, Simon. It looks like you're more of a creature of Dracula now than it is. I mean, show a little mercy. Just because it's big, wicked-looking, and ugly doesn't mean it works for Dracula.
Words hurt too.
Please, said the creature. Your companion is correct. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Freddy.
Fuck that.
So fucking much.
For real? Fuck, seriously? What the fuck?
It was like halfway through writing this book, this guy tripped over a copy of a Discworld book and then decided hey, I can do that.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of see the influences there.
Say, no kidding. We have a guy in the horror movies back home. His name is Freddy too. Ah, but Freddy with an I-E? No, I suppose it's with a Y. Well, there you go. All good monsters have their names end with an IE, all bad ones with a Y. Helps keep things straight.
Do you think it would be possible to eat my own head?
You know, I don't know if it's possible, but I think that I'm going to give it a try as well.
I think you would have like the most luck if you were to extend your jaw so much that your head goes inside out and like you reverse bite.
And now David Blaine will eat his own head. Good monsters, said Simon skeptically. Give a fella a break, said Freddy, rearing to his full height with no small amount of indignity. A clatter of loose scales tumbled to the floor like snow. I have a few bad habits, and we all lose our temper sometimes, but all in all, I must say I'm a pretty nice guy. Why, then, has Dracula not possessed you? Don't you think he's tried? But, you see, we smart monsters, Freddy tapped his bulbous head cagily, we know how to outwit the old skunk. It's the dumb ones that are in its sway. Not that we don't get tempted sometimes.
Does this happen at any point in the games?
No.
I can't imagine that it would.
No.
Now, I imagine in the games you're just killing.
Oh, that's the thing with these books is that they had to soft soap a lot of the violence.
That's also true, yeah. Like, you couldn't just have them going about killing things. Plus, I suppose there is an argument to be made for, like, subverting expectations.
Yeah, but
I mean, yeah,
you have to be a
good
good
at
writer
writing
to
books.
do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to allow this book to skate by on that. That's just fucking Freddy. The
I
troll.
think that the reason for this nonsense is that they couldn't just have them go through and murder monsters.
Or what? Kids would murder vampires in real life?
That was the thing with the publication books is that I guess Scholastic maybe made them do it, but they were like references. That's why Solid Justin doesn't really shoot anyone very much.
Yeah, because I remember I at night I can still smell the bodies burning from when all the kids read Tolkien and then went and killed orcs.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Fucking Freddy?
You're so mad at Freddy. Let's lie up on that.
Yes, said Simon, I too have a temptation problem. This is one of the reasons that Timothy Bradley is here with me, to remind me that I am being tempted.
Are Simon and Monster going to make out?
I fucking hope so.
And again, he has done an excellent job, and I thank him. And I thank him too, said Freddy, bloodshot thyroid eyes bulging almost comically. But for you, good Sir Timothy, I would surely have been snapped back into ye old nasty dimension from whence all monsters, good and bad, arise. And let me tell you, that is not a nice place. No, I far prefer the twisted passages of Berkeley Mansion and Veros Woods to that other dimension. But that's where we're trying to send Dracula, isn't it? Said Tim excitedly. Precisely, said Simon. But he stubbornly clings to this world. Why is this, Freddy monster?
Fuck you.
What is the allure of the land of Castlevania that Count Dracula should want to stay here, when it would be so much easier for him to just let go and drift back to his home dimension? Simple, said Freddy. Here he's big stuff. Back home, he's just another creep. Here he's boss. Back there, he takes orders. But who from? biggest monster of them all, that's who.
Man,
Godzilla.
The Master of Death, Thanatos. Freddy Monster shivered.
damn it.
Gazookas! It gives me the willies just to think about him. Just pray you don't ever run into him. Thank you for your advice, Freddy Monster,
Ugh,
said Simon with the utmost seriousness.
how? I'm sorry.
But perhaps you can be of further help to us. Sure, advice I can give, but I can't help you get to Dracula. We've got some sort of a truce, you see. That's all right, Tim said. All we need is some help. The lady caretaker upstairs mentioned that there are all kinds of unpleasant creatures down in this cellar. Oh, yes, she would. Well, we're just monsters, don't you know? Well, I guess I can put the word out. Can't guarantee much, though. Freddy smiled. Maybe you can also tell us where the dungeon with Dracula's rib is. Oh, sure, that smelly old thing. Freddy Monster pointed a claw. It's that way. Take a right at the fork. Thanks, Freddy, said Tim. You've been a real help. You're a real credit to monsterdom. Freddy Monster took a deep bow, dislodging a number of small furry insects from the crevices on his body, all of which scurried back to his hairy feet for shelter.
Wait, does he have fur
Glad
or
to be
scales?
of service to you, gentlemen. Why not both?
Does it matter?
does anything matter?
Nothing. None of this matters.
Tim and Simon bowed in return. Then they headed deeper into the darkness of the dungeons.
I thought they were supposed to take a left at the fork. Is the monster tricking them?
He did say take a right at the fork. Just then.
I thought Esadorada Perkins said that they're supposed to go left.
She said, go down the staircase past the door, take a left at the bottom, and watch out for the troll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. The skeletons were what tipped Tim to the fact that they were in the right place. It was dark and dank, just like a dungeon was supposed to be. Somewhere, water dripped, and in the distance, monsters shuffled. But it was when Tim smacked into the hanging bones that he knew they'd made it. They hung from the ceiling like grisly decorations, grim reminders of exactly what sort of fellow this Dracula was. When Tim hit the bones, they clattered and clinked around like castanets on Celebration Day. Tim jumped back, scared, nearly witless.
I mean, the amount of time and effort it would have taken for all of those skeletons to be articulated does say some pretty dark shit about Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like Bone Day in biology class, he said, trying to make a joke so he wouldn't be
Is that a
spooked.
joke? It just sounds like a statement.
Sounds like an idiot.
Yeah.
Tim has a very unique understanding of what is and isn't a joke. And by extension, this writer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess trying to, keep a positive spin on things or change your focus away from the fact that you're looking at, again, very, very explicitly displayed and articulated skeletons. That's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
That's grim. That's dark.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Simon grunted. And look, on that platform up there, the item that we seek. Tim, still wary of these skeletons. In this world, you never knew when skeletons would come alive and clatter down to grab a hold of your neck and squeeze. Stared up. No bones about it. I mean, yeah, there it is.
Keep going. Don't mind me.
And there it was indeed. The rib was bleached a bright white. It sat on a short pedestal and was encased in a globe made of crystal. Simon strode toward the winding steps that led toward the rib. However, before he could get very far, there was a sudden rumbling sound from deep in the earth. The floor shook, a fissure opened in the rock, and something emerged that made Tim want to just forget this whole thing, go run back to his home dimension, and hide under his bed. It was an eyeball, a flying eyeball. Game hint.
Yay!
When you get to Ajiba, buy garlic and laurels. You'll have to go through the floor to buy garlic.
What?
Yeah, I mean it was still a Castlevania game, so there are certain areas that you had to like break a wall open to get to, or things like that.
They hid vendors in secret rooms a lot of the time.
They did. Yeah, and you used hearts to buy it.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that like because they're selling things that are harmful to Dracula? They're like, oh,
There's no universe explanation for it. It's just
Yeah.
find the hidden passage to go to where a good thing is.
Yep.
Now eat your wall chicken.
There hasn't been a wall chicken in this whole goddamn book, and I'm so mad about it.
I don't think there's going to be. I'm convinced.
yeah,
at
of
this
all the
point.
things, the writer was like, what? Chicken in a wall? That would rot. I'm not putting that in. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah. And fucking Freddy the Monster.
I like the things that you specifically choose to get really mad about.
I don't specifically choose them. It's not like I sought out this terrible fucking writer and was just like making a checklist of things he was going to do to piss me off. It was just the names really get me.
Yeah. Well, you kind of have a whole thing about names too. Like, it really upsets you when names are stupid.
It does. It does. It really does. Yep. Miss Perkins. That's a bad name, but Freddy the Monster?
No, not Freddy the Monster. Freddy Monster. And Desiderata Perkins.
Is it Deza or Eza Dorada?
Desiderata, I think is what it was, yeah.
Yeah, Eza Dorada could have just left it. You know, what he was going for. He was going for like an Esmeralda. He was going for that style of name, and then just decided, you know what? Eza Dorada really, I think she's a Perkins. I think that this Romani woman of magical ability that lives between dimensions and whose only job is to make a haunted house look like a haunted house. Yeah, she's a Perkins.
Makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, this book would have fallen apart had he not given her a last name.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been able to just be like, oh, Esmeralda.
You know,
Caretaker.
I feel like on a deeper level, the entire, like, I guess, thematic thrust of everything that we read today is that you shouldn't take things on appearances.
Yawn.
Which I guess is a lesson, but
I mean, you know, it's a book for kids, y'all. Like,
sure.
you have to get your moral lessons in somewhere. And yes, there are better
I'm
examples
not
of that,
judging it.
but like if the kids aren't reading those books and they are reading this one, it's probably all right that you put that sort of thing in.
Yeah, there's nothing, but I do wish that this book were better and more interesting.
I as well, yes. I think that Chris kind of nailed it with the Terry Pratchett comparison. Now Pratchett, of course, is a much better writer.
Like it's insulting to compare them.
Yeah, it really is.
No, I only do so because it does feel like this guy just tripped over a copy of Discworld and then decided suddenly that his books were going to have the same kind of feel to them.
Yeah, it really came out of nowhere. Like this felt like a completely different book than the book that we had been reading before. In a lot of ways, I don't know. It's weird. Like suddenly the world around them has a sense of humor that it never had before. Like Tim was telling lame jokes. Yeah, sure, a bad sense of humor, absolutely, but still, there weren't terrible puns and like silliness and unexpected things happening at the inn, for instance, or the signpost. Sure, it was weird and magical, but it still had that sort of feeling of grim. This Castlevania is a dark and terrifying place, but this suddenly felt like Disney's Haunted Mansion, or I don't know.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Before, when the book was taking itself seriously, it was like fun to poke at it. But now that it's like almost as if, and now that it's almost responding to us doing that, as if like, oh, it's all a joke. I'm in on a joke too, right, guys? We're all having fun, right, guys? And now it's just ruined. It's your dad coming in and trying to use memes.
It's learning.
Yeah, I'm still excited about the game hints because I think that's it's a great way to like help force the connection between the actual video game and this incredibly missed shot of a book.
I just figured you were going to be excited about finally being able to beat the game.
If you're playing Castlevania 2 for the first time,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't a terrible game.
No, it really wasn't. Actually, it was a lot of fun. But if you're playing it for the first time because you heard about it on our podcast and you thought, oh, well, I can listen along and get these game hints, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whatever has led you to that particular moment in time in your life, oh hypothetical listener person.
I mean, I think the sad part is that while this is like interesting, it's not 1990 anymore, and you can find a full detailed walkthrough on the internet.
Thanks for negating the premise, Kaine. Doing a whole bit about if you're playing Castlevania 2 for the first time.
Did you think that people were going to think that it was 1990?
Maybe.
If we try hard enough.
I guess it depends on how much fuchsia and fucking teal is all over the place.
You know what my favorite part of 1990 was? The podcasts.
You know what my favorite part of 1990 was? Being born.
Jesus Christ.
Shut the fuck up. God damn it.
My favorite part of 1990 was the song Unbelievable being played on New Year's Eve 1989.
Oh, Want the Funk.
Unbelievable. Part of 1990 was like Super Soakers and Spider-Man. For nothing.
Honestly, I personally think that we've said all that needs to be said
Yeah, I guess you're
about
right.
Worlds of Power,
Yeah,
Castlevania Simon's Quest.
we've dissected the premise and I guess
Yeah,
you're
and
not
and
wrong.
also now the book is trying to be in on the joke, and it's all coming down.
It's become weirdly self. Although I think
awkward.
that it's in on the jokeness it really is just the fact that like this was a level where you were just fighting monsters, and they weren't allowed to have that much violence. So they're like, well, what do we do?
Call him Freddy.
Yeah, call him Freddy. He's a good monster. We don't fight him. We talk about him and have a giggle. It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Is he furry? Is he scaly? Oh!
He's just a weird chimera of...
Do you know how many of those monsters I've fought in Castlevania?
A lot of them.
0. There's no fucking things like that in Castlevania.
I was thinking of the like creature from the Black Lagoon sort of swamp monster
fish
thing.
monsters, but he's not that.
That's true.
He's a troll thing with scales and fur. Never encountered anything like that in Castlevania.
I mean, he's scaly on the top and furry on the bottom. What's wrong with that?
Is that like a monster mullet?
I want to make a quick distinction. While I do think that we're just done, like we've made all the jokes with this, I would like to continue more Worlds of Power books, though.
Yeah, not necessarily next, but there are some more.
Yeah, we could definitely check out some more. I don't know. What do the people at home think?
Yeah. If you want to like us doing these video game, there was I remember because I had it. It was an adaptation of the game Myst that also sucked hard. that we could dig into. So what do we think about Castlevania Worlds of Power, Simon's Quest?
At least there's game hints, right?
Game hints are good.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I honestly think this one is better than Metal Gear.
Really?
I do. Yeah.
I fully disagree, but continue.
Well, it just feels as if in this story, and we haven't gotten to the end yet. We only got about halfway through the book.
I don't want to get to the end.
Like
it's fine.
There is some element of character growth, which was completely lacking.
I mean, that's true.
Well, in order for character growth to be interesting to me, the characters have to be interesting.
Yeah, I find this book more annoying.
Sure,
and at least with Metal Gear, it had some kind of in-universe consistency.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from the, suddenly we're in a desert and there are giant scorpions, and then we're back inside of a building. So inside of a jungle, inside of a building, there is a desert. That's weird.
All that I mean is that it was pulling from a video game. This, I don't know what it's pulling from. Like it doesn't really closely resemble Castlevania outside of names. Like it doesn't feel like Castlevania. It doesn't.
There was not a single floating Medusa head.
I mean, I don't know how the research that I did suggested that the writers of these books did play the video games as research for these novels. But basically they speed ran them. I would maybe argue that they didn't necessarily finish the games.
Sounds like a personal problem.
I mean, maybe they did, and they were, and because they were Nintendo games, they only had so many bits. The story was so threadbare, felt like they had to embellish in these absurd directions.
I find it interesting that, this particular book, this particular story involves taking a character like a kid from our world, quote, and putting him into the game world, which was not something that had any kind of, there was no whiff of that whatsoever
No.
in Metal Gear, which is probably good. It would be really annoying if that was like a trope through all of them.
Mhm.
But
Although I'm almost surprised they did.
It would be hilarious to see a chocolate-eating Timothy trying to stealth through a secret base with guys with guns.
Oh my god, what if Tim was in every book?
oh god, that would be awful. Although, I mean, at that point, you're basically just doing Captain N.
Yeah.
Should we at least acknowledge that? Because I'm currently looking at the book, the end of the book, where it's saying, if you liked reading Castlevania 2, here's a list of other books that I thought you might like: The Black Cauldron, Funicula, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 8 Tales of Terror, The Eyes of the Dragon, and The Hobbit.
I mean, all better books.
That's what I'm, for real, honestly.
So I guess the best function that this book serves is that on one page there's a list of other books that you could go read.
So fuck yeah, we've been at it for some time. Do we have any more thoughts about Howard Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2, Electric Boogaloo?
I'm not.
I mean, it's fine.
I'm
never going to recommend other people read this,
Right.
but it's fine.
I'm not
fine.
sure.
I don't know if
I'm not sure
fine.
what it sets out to do. Whatever it is, it failed.
Yeah. Because I read books that were written, at this reader level at the time that this book was published that would have been on the same shelf with it. And I still feel like I would have been bored of this and put it down.
I was finding parts of it while we were reading, particularly today, that made me think if I were reading this when I was like 10 or 11.
Sure. Plastic book bag.
Yeah. I might I probably would have not, it wouldn't have become my favorite book or anything, but I would have been sufficiently entertained by it. And probably, honestly, at that time would have found myself identifying in some ways with the character of Tim. That's just slightly nerdy, socially awkward kid who uses humor to diffuse situations and has unhealthy eating habits. Yeah, that sounds like me at 10.
Which I think maybe is the point of the character of Tim. Of the audience and entry point into the story.
Sure. And because there's really no way, you couldn't do this one the same way that they did Metal Gear. There's no joy to it. It would just be actually doing the story of Castlevania is just grim. And,
especially Simon's Quest.
Right?
Yeah.
That game was dark.
That was the point I was about to bring up. One of the biggest flaws I think with this book is how child-proof safety lock it is. When isn't that trying to hey, let's take
Sanitize it.
and you completely lose the point of the setting when you do that. So why
Why even adapt it?
I feel like this is a perfect setting for a scary book for kids.
Which can be done.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been done in a Goosebumps or
Yeah.
like Christopher Pine,
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Pike.
Fucking
style sort of
Coraline,
thing.
which is terrifying now.
I mean,
sure.
honestly, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark did not pull any punches.
No, those books were dark.
Yeah.
Mostly for the artwork.
Well, I mean,
Like-
there was like a half of the book was like scary stories with, scary stuff in it. And then the other half was the funny scary stories.
Right.
I
Just saying, Freddy the fucking monster didn't have a place.
I agree with Dom Bluth in this sort of situation where he says you can show a kid anything as long as it has a happy ending.
Right?
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm certainly not saying that they were all like not scary. There were some scary things in there, some things that were definitely disturbing, frightening, what have you. But the artwork is what really stuck
Oh, yeah.
with me.
No, Stephen
Like,
Gammell's art was, it influenced me.
Sure.
So in the defense of the like moral majority types, you're like, no, children shouldn't be exposed to that. We're the generation that got exposed to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and like the really kind of mature Batman.
And look how
cartoon.
great we turned out.
And look how we turned out.
Kids, I guess, bounce.
Yeah.
Or they just grow
Yeah.
into weird
With
adults.
podcasts.
Weird,
Podcasts.
rambling, bizarre podcasts. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's enough said about that. Unless we want to go off.
I
on
think that
another
pretty much
tangent.
covers it.
I think I'm good.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think we've done it.
So yeah, again, like we said earlier, and we'll probably say again, if you like what we're doing, we have the Patreon. Give us a couple bucks, and we'll keep doing it. Unable to do that, I get it. It's fine. Don't feel like you have to. If you're able to give us a review or a like or a subscribe on YouTube, don't forget to ring the fucking bell.
I was really aggressive
Yeah.
and threatening.
Sometimes that gets results. Any copyrighted content contained within this podcast used for purposes of review. Brainworms Podcast is David Combs, Christian Schaefer, and Joseph Wells. Editing and post-production by David Combs. Art provided by Kaine Magdalen. The theme music is Hodgepod No. 1 by Brian Davis. If you like what you heard, please support us on Patreon or Ko-Fi, or by leaving a review on your favorite listening app.